Hey guys, I hope 2025 has been treating you well so far, and like I promised, I was watching like a hawk for any news on Tomb Raider 456 Remastered, and I missed it by almost 3 weeks. It seems that in mid-December there was sort of an exclusive interview done with Matthew Ray, the Aspyr brand manager, and I was watching the PlayStation blog post like a hawk for anything new, and nothing, absolutely nothing since 11th November. But it seems that this interview has instead happened on Xbox Hub, out of all places. I somehow assumed that, like during 1.2.3 Remaster or 4.5.6 so far, it would be PlayStation blog post that's gonna have all the news, but this time Xbox got the lucky deal. So let's dive into what this 3 weeks old interview has to say, in case it's news for you like it was for me. Okay, here we are. So Tomb Raider 4.5.6 Remastered, an exclusive interview with Aspyr by Darren Edwards. Let me just see who Darren Edwards is. I've been playing games since a very early age, thanks to my dad's encouragement. I've been an Xbox gamer since the very beginning. Master Chief is thankful for that. I'm also a big Nintendo geek. My other half is PlayStation nut. I'll play anything. Although FIFA and COD may be pushing it. Okay, so I'm just gonna assume Darren is familiar with TR franchise, hopefully. Okay, so Tomb Raider has enthralled gamers for decades with its thrilling adventures, iconic protagonist, and groundbreaking gameplay. Now, a new remaster is set to reintroduce Lara Croft's classic exploits to a new generation, following on from that excellent Tomb Raider 1.2.3 Remastered starring Lara Croft. It was rather excellent, I agree. We sat down with Matthew Ray, brand manager at Aspyr, to discuss the upcoming release of Tomb Raider 4.6 Remastered, delving into the challenges, the triumphs, and the enduring legacy of this beloved franchise. Again, full disclosure, if you look at the PlayStation blog post, no new article here. Well, there is one, for some reason it's not shown here, but I'll get to that later. But Matthew Ray, Associate Brand Manager at Aspyr, has kind of, at least on official level, been the author of both the articles announcing the remasters and also exploring the new features. I say new features because it really just confirmed what we already knew, that there's going to be Times exclusive level. We knew that thanks to the leaked achievements list. And also that we all assume there's going to be photo mode, and they confirmed it, that's all. It wasn't a particularly exciting article. Nevertheless, so this is the same person that the interview here is conducted with. Okay, so can you please introduce yourself and your role in the development of Tomb Raider 4.6 Remastered? I'm Matthew Ray, brand manager at Aspyr, who oversees the Tomb Raider franchise. My role is to ensure that this remaster stays true to Lara Croft's legacy while finding new ways to engage both long-time fans and first-time players. Okay, so apparently he's the guy responsible for balancing the original vision with some new improvements, so a bit of a tough position to be in where you're never gonna make everyone 100% happy, right? But I feel like they did an excellent job with 1.2.3 Remastered. I think the biggest issue there was removing some of Lara Croft's lines in Lara's home mansion levels for essentially non-PlayStation versions of the game, but they kind of didn't have a choice if Lara referenced, you know, PlayStation controller lines, that sort of thing. Still, I feel it could have been handled better. For example, keep the voice lines, but change the subtitles to fit the current platform. But I know Nintendo had the biggest problem with this, and Nintendo are tough to deal with, very much so. So from working with the development team to collaborate with Crystal Dynamics and community teams, I'm deeply involved with shaping how Tomb Raider 4.5.6 Remastered is presented to the world. Okay, so how would you pitch this game to players unfamiliar with Lara's early adventures? Okay, so how would you pitch this to people who are not fans, but might potentially be fans, or are fans of the later entries, like Legend Anniversary Underworld and 2013 Rise and Shadow? Actually, it's crazy to think about that people who were onboarded with Legend Anniversary and Underworld at a very early age are now adults. That's insane. Okay, so this classic series helped define the action-adventure genre at its inception. They are the origins of Lara Croft and showcase her iconic grit, intellect and athleticism, taking her to stunning locations across the globe. For 4.6 Remastered specifically, there is a huge cliffhanger at the end of Last Revelation. Would it be good to tell to new players, Last Revelation is the 4th game, by the way. In this bundle, players get to immediately pick up where the story left off by playing Chronicles, which is the 5th one, and then move on to what has become a cult classic among fans in Angel of Darkness, the 6th one. I disagree, you can just skip Chronicles if you want to know how the story continues and go to Angel of Darkness, because Chronicles deals with the past and none of the current plot, but anyway, it's bit of an odd thing. With updated visuals, modern controls and quality of life improvements on all games, this is the perfect entry point for newcomers to experience the classic series. I know he has to say that, but 1, 2, 3 Remastered are the excellent entry point for newcomers to the series, not 4, 5, 6. This has me worried that 4, 5, 6 it's not gonna do quite as well. It's not such a good value proposition as 1, 2, 3 Remastered. There's just less content overall. It's 3 games, one of them is unfinished, one of them is incredibly short, one of them is the longest one, so that's fair, but there are no real expansions to speak of. There's just one short, although beautiful, bonus level for Tomb Raider 4 that's part of the package. So value proposition wise, it's worse. Now, is it still worth the $30? For me, absolutely. But we'll see how the remasters will turn out, so, you know, again, same principle as I always promote, guys, there's never a need to pre-order any digital goods. Wait for the reviews, make up your mind and buy them. Hopefully these will turn out great. Talk us through the improvements made over the originals. What are the biggest differences that players will notice? We've introduced several key enhancements to gameplay without compromising or taking away from the original games in any way. The addition of modern controls makes the game more accessible to players who are newer to the series. From what I've heard, yes, newer players absolutely love the modern controls, but we've also kept the classic tank controls for a long time, thanks. Thank you. We've included boss health bars, also toggleable, which helps players strategize during tough encounters without taking away from the thrill of the challenge. Again, a point I made back when I tackled, I think, Tomb Raider 2 Remastered. Guys, there's no reason not to implement toggleable every enemy health bars. Modders have done this already, and actually many of the same modders are working for you now on these remasters. And Sabatu, a very talented modder from Czechia, who created Sabatu's Tomb Raider 1 and 2, sort of entire games reworked in the original engine, he decided to implement health bars for all enemies, meaning you'll only see the health bar of an enemy Lara is currently locked on, and that works flawlessly. You'll know if an enemy is injured, you'll also be able to say just how much of a punch your weapons have against certain enemies. Having these just for bosses, to me it feels like an unfinished feature, you know what I mean? And make it toggleable, make it all enemies, bosses only, or none whatsoever, and you'll make everyone happy. That's what I feel could have been added, along with the level selector. Okay, so lastly, we've made the rare Times exclusive level from the last revelation available to all players for the first time ever, giving everyone a chance to experience this unique chapter in Tomb Raider history. There's plenty more to be excited about, but we won't spoil it all here. Pre-order today and find out yourself. Now, I actually don't know how the Times exclusive level was originally distributed. Was it actually a CD-ROM packed with the issue of the Times level via some promotional means? I don't know. Where I got my hands on the Times exclusive level was, of course, the amazing Stella's walkthroughs website. So in a sense, it has unofficially been digitally available for ages, but only for PC. This time console players will get to experience it. And again, this was kind of a big deal in 1, 2, 3 Remastered, because this was an important step for preservation for those amazing expansion packs for Tomb Raider 1, 2 and 3. But 4 and 5 and 6 have nothing like that, only 4 has this very short, although, like I already said, beautiful level. So again, the value proposition is not quite as exciting. I really enjoyed my time revisiting the original trilogy in Tomb Raider 1, 2, 3 Remastered, however the modern controls clashed with the limitations in-game design at times. What changes have been made to this area, what you can tell us about? Now, I'm not sure exactly what, I assume this is Darren talking, means by this, and that's simply because I always use the tank controls that I'm very comfortable with. Guys, maybe you could let us know in the comments in case you used the modern controls. Have you ever felt like the level design clashes with that control scheme? I guess to an extent it does, but I can think of 2 situations in, what was it, the Cold War level, an expansion to Tomb Raider 2, and also the River Ganges level in Tomb Raider 3, where modern controls came extremely handy in terms of twisting and turning Lara during a mid-air jump more so than you could with tank controls, and it made navigating the levels way easier, which I guess we can make an argument was not intended vision by the original devs, but I thought it's just an awesome way to traverse the environment, so I see it as a positive. We understand that integrating modern controls into classic level design can be a challenge, and we've refined this balance for Tomb Raider 4 to 6 Remastered. The modern control scheme has been further optimized to feel smoother and more intuitive while still respecting the original design. One of the biggest issues with the modern control scheme shortly after release for 1, 2, 3 Remastered was the camera. Everyone hated the camera, but this got patched, I think 1 or 2 major patches later on, and since then people have generally loved the modern control scheme. I'm gonna assume it's already gonna 456 are gonna launch with those improvements, but they are mentioning some new improvements on top of those. Look, whatever they are, hopefully they'll make things better, and hopefully they'll be re-implemented via a patch into 1.2.3 Remastered. Additionally, we've kept the classic controls intact for those who want the authentic experience. It's all about providing options so players can engage with the games in the way that feels best to them. Absolutely, couldn't agree more. I have noticed literally no differences between the tank controls in the remasters and tank controls in the originals, and I have played originals to death. I think I would have picked up on some. Even bugs and glitches are maintained, which is very useful for some speedrunning techniques. The only major difference is, of course, now being at 60 FPS as opposed to 30. Now, Tomb Raider Angel of Darkness is a famously divisive entry in the series with its inclusion in Tomb Raider 4.6 Remastered. Are you hoping this will change? So, absolutely. Angel of Darkness was an ambitious game that faced challenges during its original release, but it also introduced compelling ideas and a darker, more complex narrative that many fans appreciated, not to mention its current cult classic status as one of the most popular classic games in the franchise. Guys, I'm just gonna give you a hot take. I do not like Angel of Darkness. I've played it twice to completion, as opposed to 10 to 20 times every other Tomb Raider game in the franchise. That should tell you a lot. And I had absolutely miserable time with Angel of Darkness. Now, do I think that the remaster is gonna completely change my opinion and it's gonna become one of my most popular entries in the franchise? Absolutely not. I want to keep my expectations low and realistic. According to the leaked achievements list, it's already gonna restore some cut content, like being able to shoot whilst covering behind wall corners or being able to dual wield certain pistols, and that sounds exciting. But it's not gonna finish an unfinished game, and I think it's important to keep our expectations real. At the same time, I will be later on this year covering this game in great detail for all achievements, 100%ing it, that sort of thing, and it's gonna be the first time I'm gonna be essentially working on a game I do not like, and that's scary. And I'm hoping that you guys will convert me, that you will convince me that there's actually a lot to love about the game. Because so far I don't see it, and hopefully your passion and love for Angel of Darkness, whatever your reason for it, will rub off on me. That's what I hope, and hopefully the remasters will make it easier. Furthermore, since I'm not as experienced with Angel of Darkness, I'm hardly going to be an authority to tell you, oh, this is just like in the original, or oh, this is part of the remastered version of Angel of Darkness. I'm actually going to be absolutely clueless, so we'll see how that will turn out, but I'm going to be playing the original version alongside the remastered one, just to get extra practice and appreciate the changes, so I'll notice them and pick up on them immediately. That's essentially my plan. Now, with the remastered version, we hope to optimize the experience, allowing players to reevaluate its strength and rediscover its unique place in Lara's history. One thing I'm curious about, and I mentioned this in my previous video on these remasters, is there gonna be like a tank control scheme for Angel of Darkness as well as modern control scheme? Because I might actually do the unthinkable and just switch to the modern control scheme altogether for Angel of Darkness. We'll see. The awkward thing about the original release of Angel of Darkness was that it had tank control scheme, but the world was no longer square-based, and it made no sense for it to have a tank control scheme. It just didn't make any sense whatsoever. It required a newer control scheme, and it didn't get it, which was a big bummer. So, did you collaborate with the original team as part of this project? If so, how? Now, what I don't know if this question means original team as in the core era developers or original team as in Saber who worked on 1.2.3 Remastered. Because guys, still to this day, we have no idea who the developers working on 4.5.6 Remastered are. Not a single mention of the Saber studio. Which is odd, because they did such a good job on 1.2.3 Remasters, why would they not mention it? At the same time, it feels like Saber have been working on 5 games at the same time. It makes no sense. Maybe Saber is a name for, 5 to 10 different teams of developers. I have no idea what their structure is like. They're being very secretive about this. If they would say it's the same people that worked on the previous remasters batch, I would actually be relieved, but they don't, and that has me worried. And yes, so this is a bit strange, but maybe the question was addressed to the original core era devs. Fans will have to wait and see who all was involved when the game releases on February 14th. Great. So again, they just don't want to say who works on these. It's so odd. Was it always the plan to release Tomb Raider 4.6 Remastered, or did it hinge on the success of the first trilogy? Now, this for me is the most interesting point about the whole interview. Because this confirms a theory I had. They probably started working on 456 Remastered before even announcing 123 Remastered, and I was right. From the start, we always envisioned giving fans the complete classic Tomb Raider experience encompassing all 6 of the original core design games. So this was the idea from the start. They're gonna make 1 to 6 Remastered, and they just decided to bundle them into 3 and 3, which I'm very happy about, rather than, you know, splitting into 2, 2 and 2. That would be a mess. This makes most sense, I believe. However, the overwhelmingly positive response to Tomb Raider 1 to 3 Remastered truly solidified our commitment to this vision. It was a powerful reminder of how much these games really mean to this passionate community, and motivated us to bring the same level of care and passion to Lara Croft's darkest adventure. So, I have never seen the official sales numbers. I've seen some people trying to put them together based on Steam engagement graphs and that sort of thing. But wherever I go, I keep hearing that 123 Remastered did really well and above expectations of Aspyr, which is good. I mean, to a large extent, I think us fans of the originals from 90s, us old farts, are responsible for that. And many of us also bought them across multiple platforms. Heck, I have the Switch version, the PS4 and PS5 version I bought only as a 1 digital copy. But I also have the GOG version and the Steam version, right? And I also got my hands on the physical release. I actually want there to be a physical release of 456 Remastered. We'll see if there'll be any announcement about that. But yeah, what I'm most interested in about is how successful was 123 Remastered in onboarding new time players, you know? People who might have never engaged with the Tomb Raider franchise, or they did engage with the later entries, like the LAU trilogy or the Survivor trilogy, but not the classics. That's what I would like to know, and it's kind of impossible to make statistics like that. But hopefully it was successful in getting new people on board. That's really the only way you'll keep a franchise properly alive. And yeah, so the plan was all along to make all 6, but the success of 123 truly solidified our commitment to this vision. So probably if it would have done poorly, they might have received sort of like a red light. Okay guys, do not continue, there's no point. But thankfully that didn't happen, and I'm very happy about that. What has been the reaction from the Tomb Raider community since the announcement of this latest remastering? The response has been overwhelmingly positive. Fans are thrilled to see The Last Revelation, Chronicles and Angel of Darkness getting the remastered treatment. There's been a lot of excitement about the visual enhancements and the inclusion of the Times exclusive level. Was there so much excitement about the Times exclusive level? I mean, look, I'm always happy for games preservation, preserving every level, and it's really neat, but it's just one level. We're comparing it to entire expansion packs of the previous remaster batch. I don't know. I'm still happy that they even remembered it exists, right? So that's good. But yeah, overall, very positive reaction. Some of the channels I follow, Tomb Raider related, they've been absolutely buzzing with excitement. And I also, when I got the notification feed on my phone that this is happening, I was on a client meeting at the time and I just couldn't focus anymore. I was shaking, I was so happy, yeah. The community's passion for Lara's early adventures continues to inspire us, and we can't wait to see their reactions when they dive into the remastered collection. Indeed, and despite the fact that I'll probably still be working on Tomb Raider 3 Remastered when this releases in mid-February, I'll do a video just to give you guys my sort of first impression from, I guess, the beginning of every game, that sort of thing, just to be there with you. If you could choose any game which has had the biggest impact on you as a player, what would be and why? You know, nice to know that Matthew plays video games, or at least used to play video games. That's not a common thing in video games industry as you might think, especially in people with high positions. So for me, it's The Legend of Zelda 2, The Adventures of Link. Oh, I played that game, only the first 3 dungeons, didn't finish it. It's a game that dared to take risks, that's one way to put it, blending action, RPG elements and side-scrolling gameplay in a way that was completely unique at the time. The challenging difficulty, combined with its sense of exploration and progression, taught me patience and problem solving. It was kind of a victim of following trends at the time. Side-scrolling action games were all the rage when Legend of Zelda 2 released, and so it tried to follow the trends rather than playing to the first game's strengths. But oh, okay, I'm getting into a whole separate topic. I'm hardly an authority on The Legend of Zelda games. So it's also a game that left a lasting impression with its world-building, atmospheric storytelling, proving that games could be more than just fun, they could be immersive emotional experience, absolutely. That willingness to innovate and experiment has always inspired me, especially as a fan of bold, adventurous franchises like Tomb Raider. Okay, I feel like Tomb Raider was bold and adventurous once upon a time, but it's not really currently very bold and adventurous. I feel like Survivor Trilogy played it very safe in many ways. Doesn't mean they're not excellent games, just they weren't really doing anything new. They were following trends rather than setting them. Can you give us a glimpse into the future? Do you have plans to revisit any other Tomb Raider titles? Right now, we're fully focused on delivering the best experience with 4 to 6 Remastered. However, we're always listening to the community and exploring ways to celebrate Lara Croft's legacy. Whether it's revisiting other titles or new surprises, we're excited about what the future holds for the franchise. So this isn't really an answer to this question, and I get it. Look, guys, even if they're, I don't know, half a year away from announcing Legend Anniversary Underworld Trilogy Remaster, they're not gonna just, drop that in an interview like this, okay? But this is kind of the big question all of us wonder, like, are all the games in the franchise gonna receive this treatment? Now, I have thoughts about this, and I think it's very likely, but I'm gonna get to that in a second. Let's just finish the interview. And finally, out of the 3 games bundled here in Tomb Raider 4 to 6 Remastered, which is your personal favorite and why? It's hard to choose. For me, it's not. It's Tomb Raider 2. But I have to go with The Last Revelation. It's such a pivotal moment in Lara Croft's story, with incredible level design and a darker tone that really stood out. The game's Egyptian setting is beautifully immersive, and its narrative complexity left a lasting impression on me. It's a testament to how adventurous and daring the series can be. I agree in terms of the story writing and narrative, that was clearly a focus of the 4th game, and it's such a vast improvement over all the others. But it's not my favorite. I feel like when people say Tomb Raider 4 is their absolute favorite, what they remember is the beginning. It's the Tomb of Set, Burial Chambers, KV5, Valley of Kings. It's the amazing Karnak levels, right? But then people don't remember the Alexandria. They don't remember the Cairo. And they sure as hell don't really remember Giza. And yeah, I mean, if I was judging games just on the beginnings, Tomb Raider 4 would be the top creme de la creme, but it just gets worse as it progresses, in my opinion, and always leaves me very burnt out and exhausted when I finish it. So yeah. But anyway, if you guys are a fan of Last Revelation, please let us know why in the comments. It's gonna be really cool. If you love the game as a package, not just the first few levels, which are phenomenal. Huge thanks go out to Matthew at Aspyr for allowing us some time. With Tomb Raider 4 to 6 Remastered, Aspyr is poised to deliver an experience that honors the series' roots, all while embracing modern advancements. We'll find out how things go in full review upon release, but no matter whether you're a long-time fan eager to relive Lara's early adventures or a newcomer ready to embark on a thrilling journey, this next remaster promises to be an unforgettable experience. As we eagerly await its release, one thing is certain: Lara Croft's legacy continues to thrive, inspiring and exciting gamers worldwide. You'll find Tomb Raider 4 to 6 Remastered releasing on Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo Switch and PC, Steam come February 14, 2025. That's not really fair. Look, guys, it's gonna be on GOG. See, there is a store page for it, so don't you worry if you actually want to own the game's files, not just the license to temporarily access them. You know what I'm talking about. Okay, guys, so that's essentially it for this interview. Now, what I want to come back to is, can you give us a glimpse in the future? Do you have plans to revisit any other Tomb Raider titles? Here's the thing. Today is 10th of January. Just yesterday, this article has dropped on PlayStation blog this time. Tomb Raider series retrospective. From dinosaurs to cult, leaden, lost islands, fancy a tomb raiding trip across Lara's history in PlayStation. Now guys, I'm not gonna go through the whole article. If you want to, I'm leaving a link in the description of this video below. But here's the thing. They are going through sort of like a brief paragraph on every single mainline entry in the franchise, not counting spin-offs. And they go through 1 to 6. They're already, dropping links that 1, 2, and 3 you can access on storefronts, PlayStation Store, of course, because this is PlayStation blog post. Then there's a mention of 4, 5, 6, saying that all these are coming soon to PlayStation Store as part of the Tomb Raider 4 to 6 Remastered. Then the article moves forward. We have moved into the PS2 era, although I would argue more into the PS3 era with Legend, but also released on PS2. So again, just a brief description of what's happening in Legend, and then available on PlayStation Store and included with PlayStation Plus Premium. When they say included with these programs, what they really mean is game streaming. So if you're one of the 5 lucky people on planet who has a stable enough internet connection to actually stream games, good for you. For the rest of us, we need to think about how to actually access these games, right? The problem with this is, if I check out the PlayStation Store, Tomb Raider Legend is currently only accessible as a PS2 emulated version for $20. This is insane. This isn't good value. I'm sorry. Make it $5 to $10, not 20. It's a game from 2006. What's worse, PS2 version, which runs like absolute ass. I am very familiar with PS2 version of Tomb Raider Legend. I have actually emulated it to make it run even a bit smoother and unlock my retro achievements, but it was absolutely awful. There are also changes in the actual levels physically as compared to the PC or PS3 versions, which are really the only full-fledged versions. But what's worse, you need to pay $20 or be subscribed to PlayStation Plus Premium to access it on a PS2 emulator on PS4 or PS5. And I'm sorry, this is not really accessible on modern platforms, not really. This is kind of an insanity in my opinion. So yeah, not very happy with this, and what that leads me to is when we move on to the next two entries of the LAU trilogy, Tomb Raider Anniversary, there's not even a paragraph or a link to showing you where it's accessible. The same thing for Tomb Raider Underworld, just absolutely nothing, see? So Tomb Raider Legend, accessible via PlayStation Plus Premium and the store page via PS2 emulator, then nothing for Anniversary, nothing for Underworld, and then we're moving on to 2013, which you can also buy and play on PS4, PS5, and also modern Xbox platforms, or get an access via subscription. So what I'm thinking is, why on earth would you put this article together, spending time and resources to highlight that LAU games exist, if you have no plans of actually bringing them properly onto modern platforms? So I think it's very likely that, well, discussions have definitely been made, but maybe some work has already been done on LAU Trilogy. We'll see. I mean, since the original plan was just to release 1 to 6 Remastered and nothing more, even if LAU Trilogy is already greenlit, or maybe depending on how well 4, 5, 6 Remastered will do, that's when they might get a green light on LAU Remaster. What I'm thinking is it might still be a long time until we see them coming. Maybe the official work still needs to start. On the other hand, I don't think LAU need any, modern graphics toggle or anything like that. I feel like those are modern enough to preserve the original visuals, maybe just upscale the resolution, fix some graphical glitches, and just port them over. And that to me sounds like way less work than the core era classics. So let me guys know what you think, but why on earth would, just yesterday this PlayStation blog post be released if not to also highlight that these games exist and not giving players and fans an option to play them? That's kind of ridiculous in my opinion. So this, along with this statement from Aspyr, leads me to believe that after 4, 5, 6 are released, once they're evaluated how well they did, we might actually see LAU remastered in a sense. And again, I think like these 3 games don't need quite as much work as the core era classics, which leads me to believe it would be a bummer to miss out on that. On the other hand, what it might just turn out to be would be like Tomb Raider Legend, release Anniversary for $20 on PS2 emulation, and heck, did you know Tomb Raider Underworld also was available on PS2? It was an atrocious port. Hopefully they're not gonna do what they did with Tomb Raider Legend here. Ugh. God, I hope not. So, those are my thoughts and feelings on the interview. Sort of a main key takeaway for me from all this, well, there's 2. First of all, they confirmed they spent quite some time working on 4, 5, 6 Remastered, essentially when they started working on 1 to 3 Remastered. That could mean maybe Saber worked on 1 to 3 and some other team, or maybe other team under the Saber umbrella name works on 4, 5, 6 Remastered. I don't know, they're still being very secretive about that. No idea why, but they've spent quite some time working on this, not just a year as it might seem, so that's good and leads me to believe that it's going to be even in a better technical state than 1 to 3 remastered on release, which if you remember, many achievements were not even working, an entire level in Tomb Raider 3 was not accessible, it was not the greatest of launches, as is unfortunately the trend nowadays. Now, saying that, that's one key takeaway. The second one is the answer to the question, are you planning to remaster anything else or revisit any other entries in Lara's franchise? They said they are very open-minded to that. Now, here's the thing, even if they're not open to that, they're of course gonna say they're open to that. That's just how public relations work and official statements you need to give to fans to appease the community, no matter what's actually happening in the background. I get that. But the fact that just yesterday the PlayStation blog post released reminding us that Legend, Anniversary and Underworld exist, but not giving us an option to play Anniversary and Underworld and giving us a very bad option to play Legend, that's interesting. Now, nothing would make me happier And then in, what was it, October this year? In October 2025, us receiving an announcement that Legend, Anniversary and Underworld remasters are coming. But I want to, again, keep my expectations tempered. But on the other hand, this sounds like less of a work and effort than 1, 2, 3 and 4, 5, 6. Because Angel of Darkness especially must be an absolute beast to remaster the way they're mentioning, restoring cut content. And all the core era classics, the graphical toggle, that sort of thing, all the new assets. Despite the fact they use some AI upscaling of textures, that was a much bigger work effort than maybe just, updating the resolution of LAU Trilogy and fixing some bugs and essentially creating trophies and achievements and porting it over to modern platforms. But who knows? There's a lot of effort put in development into things we will never see with our human eye under the sort of surface that could be absolutely monstrous size. So that's what I'm hoping for. These are my hopes. I also hope that 456 will release in a better technical state so that we won't have to wait for a couple of major patches before, some of the levels will be properly remastered. I still remember how bad Tomb Raider 2 Remastered looked right after the launch. Thankfully, I got to it because I was so busy with the first game once the major patch, I think it was 2 and 3 dropped, which remastered the whole game properly. So, let me guys know what you think in the comments. Are you, excited for 456? Are you considering Angel of Darkness your most favorite entry? Please let me know why. Are you considering Tomb Raider Last Revelation your most favorite entry? Please let me know why. I know no one considers Chronicles their most favorite entry in the franchise, but it's a game after Tomb Raider 2 I always look forward to the most playing, probably because it's short, I don't know, but the levels are phenomenal in my opinion. Can't wait to see the remaster work being done for Ireland. My god, it's gonna look phenomenal. So that's where we are right now, and also, would you be excited for Legend, Anniversary and Underworld remasters? Now, if like me you are mostly a PC Master Race guy, you'll be like, what's the point, I can just play them on PC. That's true, but remember guys, how terrible the Legend port to PC was? You essentially, after starting the Kazakhstan chapter of the game, you would have to disable the next-gen content because Lara could not make it through the parachute slide down the mountain. It just wouldn't work, so you'd have to play it without the next-gen toggle. Whereas on PS3, I feel, is the best platform for Tomb Raider Legend. I would love that to be brought to PC properly, and to PS4, PS5, and of course Switch and Xbox platforms. Also, when it comes to Anniversary PC port was fine, but again, the PlayStation 3 one was so much better than the PC one. And when it comes to Underworld, okay, PC actually worked out great, no real remaster is needed, maybe outside of some enhanced resolution and texture size and that sort of thing. But achievements, I think, will make lots of PC players very happy, okay? So these are my hopes. Again, very excited for the release, very busy still with Tomb Raider 3. In case, guys, you will essentially not be able to wait for a proper Tomb Raider 4 Last Revelation coverage when it releases, for me to still wrap up things on the Tomb Raider 3 end, I believe I have you covered for Tomb Raider 4 and 5, because I have full 100% like playthroughs of the original version of Tomb Raider 4 and Tomb Raider 5 on my channel. You can find them there. Back then achievements didn't really exist or anything like that, but it does cover how you can kill every single enemy, get every single pickup, find every single secret, and break every single breakable object. So at least in that regard, hopefully these will be very useful to you in your own Tomb Raider 4 and 5 remastered journeys. And as for Tomb Raider 6, oh boy, am I scared. But with those thoughts, guys, I'm gonna see you next time. If they'll drop any news before February 14th, then I'm gonna be all over it. If not, then I'm gonna be there on either February 14th or 15th, depending on how work will allow me to spend time. Just giving you sort of my first time impressions of all three games when they release, because whilst I'm not pre-ordering them, because it's a practice I don't want to support, I am buying them day one, okay? So that's when I'll see you next, and until then, I wish you all happy raiding.